Good afternoon to my entire Jeunesse Australasia family, and welcome to our final session of our 4-part series Masterclass on AM/PM. Over the last month, you have been treated to a deep look at AM. You've been treated to a deep look into PM. We have looked at how AM/PM can help with immunity, and today we're going to look at some lifestyle tips to keep you healthy. Joining me today is none other than Scientific Advisory Board member and Nobel Prize nominee, Dr. Giampapa. Dr. G, it's so great to be hanging out with you this last month, and we're at our final session. I'm so excited as how we're going to bring this all together.
Well, it's been my pleasure to be here with you and all of your Australasia people, because you guys are very important to Jeunesse and to me. And tonight we want to put all the pieces together to see if we can really show everybody that they're really the masters of their present and future health. And it's yes, products are very important, but we really need to focus on lifestyle as a major aid and component to a complete health picture. So with that, I think we'll get started. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Okay. So, we all want to be happy. We all want our lives to be happy and healthy. And the real secret is understanding that if we learn how to keep one cell healthy, and that's what the science is focused on, we can literally keep 100 trillion cells healthy, which make up our body. But the mission at Jeunesse is to empower people to look and feel young, and not just with our synergistic products from the Yes system, but also now to really start to introduce how we should live a more healthier lifestyle. And so with that, we're going to focus on that tonight, along with the products as well. So lifestyle tips you hear from a lot of people, but basically it's really the information. Information is the secret to everything, because information changes how you think. Your thoughts change your actions. Your actions become habits, and your habits change your genes. So we start with that information. Information is so important. And so we're going to go through some of the key tips to a more healthier, vibrant life, along with the products from Jeunesse. And I always like to say that, we used to think that we were stuck with our genetic inheritance from our parents, but we now know that our genes only dictate about 30% of our present and future health. So that means 70% of your future health is really in your own hands. And what does that really mean? It's the environment that we place our genes in and our bodies in, the exercise, the diet, how we handle stress. Yes, supplements, and as important, information and learning how to decrease our stress. So tonight I'm going to do my best to give you the key tips on all of this, which you can easily incorporate even starting tomorrow. So tip number 1 is about food, quantity versus quality. And really the whole secret here is that we live in a modern age, and what happens is we get introduced to fast foods, which are really not the healthiest thing for us because we're all so busy. So quantity of food is the first thing we want to talk about. And most of us have an iPhone or some form of computer device that can help us calculate how many carbs we're eating or proteins, etc. But in reality, you don't need that. And I want to show you something interesting. We all have our palm computer. If you put your 2 hands together like this, and you divide that into 3 segments like you see here, first of all, we want to have about 40% protein, 30% good quality fats, and about 30% carbohydrates. And if you just divide that palm in these 3 pieces, what you're going to find out is that it's pretty easy to adjust the quantity of food and also pick the right types of, for instance, protein. And I'll give you a couple of tips over the next few moments to tell you. Like, for instance, carbohydrates, we want to pick things that are usually not white. So that's pretty simple. We want to pick green things. We want to pick things that have what we call low glycemic indexes. That is, they don't have a lot of sugar in them. And some of the things like celery actually take more energy to chew up and swallow than they have within them. So they're negative energy foods. Fats, we want to stay with the right types of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, omega-9s, but mainly olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, nuts, legumes, things that we could eat, almonds. All of these things supply the right types of fats. And when it comes to protein, we'd like to stay with lean types of meats, chicken, lamb, beef, eggs. And the secret is when you're eating a meal, if you eat your proteins first, it slows the absorption of carbohydrates so you don't end up with a big spike of your blood sugar. So here we go. Again, this is a closer look. So just put your palms together. If you're out in a restaurant, put your palms together and just imagine these three divisions on your palms, and then you know protein is going to be the largest component, and then fats and carbohydrates are about the most. And always try to eat your protein the first couple of bites first, and believe me, your meal will be even more nutritious. So quality of food. We talked about, we really work on the 40-30-30 ratio, and proteins is our primary sources of fuel and the most important thing we should be eating, followed by carbohydrates, which should mainly come from fruits, vegetables, low glycemic index carbs. Like when it comes to fruits, apples and pears are the best. Finally, fats. Most of the fats we should ingest come from, as I mentioned earlier, different types of nuts, seeds, extra virgin olive oil, and almonds. And these are the type of things that we evolved on evolutionarily in the past. And when we eat the right amounts and the right types of food, we keep our hormonal levels and our blood sugar levels at optimal ratios. See, the secret of food is the best way to regulate your hormones. And we don't think about food as a hormone regulation component in our lives, but frankly, food regulates your insulin. It regulates your growth hormone, or regulates the key at your adipose, your adiponectin and other the other fat releasing digesting hormones, a plethora of other hormones as well. So by eating the right way, we keep our key hormones that adjust blood sugar, fatty deposition in an ideal state. Now, protein, fats, carbohydrates can also be consumed in a more easy format for all of us who are always so busy and on the run. So for instance, Zen Protein, Zen Fuse. Okay, now Zen Protein is an amazing product. Mark McDonald was the key designer on this. And what he was able to do is give you a source of proteins, carbohydrates in a meal that allows you to absorb the proteins very quickly initially, and then have a second type of protein, which allows you to be released later on in the day or after you eat that, hours later. And that's the secret to keep our protein levels up, to build muscle, to build hormones, and to build all the other immunoglobulins that we need. So Zen Protein, Zen Fuse is one of the ideal ways to take that extra bit of protein in between meals, which is really what I do in mid-morning and mid-afternoon. Now, AM, PM, we've talked about that for the last couple of weeks, but AM, PM is, if you look at AM, PM, it's really like a source of condensed food. There's tremendous combinations of natural vegetables, natural fruits, nuts, and a whole host of different types of natural occurring compounds, including fruits, that help your body get all the antioxidants and other key nutrients you need, as well as fiber. Aside from that, it has our amylase, protease, and different cellulase, the different types of digestive enzymes which you need to get nutritional value out of your food. So when you take AM with breakfast or PM with dinner, you're actually helping to absorb more of the nutritional value of your food, as well as what's in our tablets. So this is a tremendous asset, again, to help with feeding your cells and your genes the right ingredients those cells need to function more optimally. And if you recall, AM and PM formulas have been designed to help regulate your sleep-wake cycle. And most of us, as we get older, we find it difficult to fall asleep, and in the morning we find we're tired. That's because what's called our autonomic nervous system has lost its synchronicity. And the ingredients in the AM formula help enhance the sympathetic nervous system. That's sympathetic, S for speedy and ready to hit the day. And our parasympathetic nervous system is what keeps us very placid at night so we can fall asleep. So these two ingredients, two formulas have its specific ingredients to balance that sleep-wake cycle, which we find more and more important as we get older, and to maintain our immune system and our general energy. We also talked in the past about how important sleep is. So PM, one of the biggest experiential impacts for PM has to do with its ability not only to increase the quantity of sleep, but the quality of sleep. So people who are taking PM on a regular basis find that they not only sleep better, they sleep more, and they wake up more refreshed. Again, sleep has been linked to many different things. Most importantly, it helps enhance your immune system. It helps with your memory, cognition. It helps decrease your levels of anxiety and depression. And frankly, is directly related to a healthy heart and a decreased risk in diabetes if you're getting the right amount of sleep, which science now says is between 7 and 8 hours max a day. So Zen is, again, one of the answers to not only protein, but Zen Prime has additional probiotics and prebiotics, which are also in AM and PM. So why do we need probiotics and prebiotics? You know, the human body is an interesting thing. We're actually living in symbiosis with billions of bacteria that live in small intestine. But those bacteria, friendly bacteria, they help us with absorbing certain types of vitamins and minerals. But more importantly, those bacteria actually help produce compounds that stimulate your immune system. And most of our immunoglobulins that float around in our blood are produced in the small intestine. And if we feed those bacteria with the probiotics, prebiotics that they need to stay healthy, they work even better and help enhance our immune function. So let's talk about exercise. Now, it's with COVID globally occurring, it's made certain people a little more difficult to go to the gym, but frankly, there's no reason why you can't get outside on a sunny day. It's actually healthier to be outside as long as you're not around a lot of people. But exercise is so important. It's not only another way of just feeling better, but it helps change your body composition. It helps decrease your fat, which cuts your inflammation. And it helps enhance your hormonal levels, your testosterone, your DHEA levels. It helps with bone density. So all of these things are important, and timing and duration is really important. So we're going to talk briefly about timing, type of exercise, and duration of exercise. Timing really matters, and the best time to start exercising is first thing in the morning. A quick 10 to 15 minute walk first thing in the morning actually sets our calorie burn rate higher for the whole day. So if you exercise in the morning right before your day starts, no matter what you're eating, we're able to metabolize that quicker, burn more of those calories off. In the evening, doing some light exercise can also be a help if you don't do it too close to your bedtime. But that actually helps to enhance some of our hormonal levels, like growth hormone also, which helps us sleep better. Now, when we look at types of exercise, really, when we see exercise, we should be doing three different things every time, three types of things every time we go to work out. So aerobic exercise, whether it's a treadmill or we're jogging, stair stepper, rowing machine, helps our heart keep our heart healthy and our vascular system clean, decreasing our cholesterol levels and helping to maintain a good blood pressure. Resistive exercises, that is things like yoga, weightlifting, are great because that keeps our cardiovascular system in shape. But more importantly, it helps our muscles stay toned. It helps with our bone density, and it helps decrease body fat as well. Now, in the past, we didn't pay too much attention to flexibility exercises, but flexibility is something we all lose as we get older. And if we do some stretching, even if it's just for 8 to 10 minutes before we start our aerobic and resistive exercises, we help with our balance, our movement, and basically day-to-day activities that would otherwise we might end up being off balance and fall and injure ourselves as we grow older. So these three things, for instance, my particular workouts are 5 days a week, but I always start with about 10 to 15 minutes of stretching. I then do my aerobic exercise, which loosens me up. I'll usually be on a rower or a treadmill or a stair stepper. Again, and we're going to talk about this, for no more than about 15 minutes max. Okay, we're going to talk about why today we can get more benefits out of a less aerobic exercises. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And then I usually end up with about 35 or 40 minutes of weight training, doing exercises for different segments of my body and alternating different days to give myself a rest in between each one of those workouts. Now, duration of exercise is a whole new thing once you're over 40. And working out, for instance, on the treadmill or the stair stepper, we now know that if we go to about 2/3 of our maximum heart rate for a minute and then rest for about 2 minutes, what we're afterwards, let our heart rate come down. We're training both the heart's ability to pump more blood and its ability to recover from exercise. And this new approach to exercise has been very interesting. It actually has been shown to be even more beneficial than constant running on a treadmill to burn more body fat, and actually it's heart healthier. So you don't have to get up there and do 30 minutes of nonstop jogging and running. You're much better off of doing a minute or a minute and a half, resting for 2 minutes, letting your heart rate come down, and then again doing the same thing, maybe doing 5 or 6 cycles of that. And when I first started this, I felt like I wasn't doing nearly as much, but I suddenly realized my heart rate was better, my body composition got better, and it was like, I'm okay with doing 1/3 of what I used to do and getting more benefit, and this is a real big tip. Now, the Zen program also has an app to help you pick your right exercises, and Mark McDonald has done a great job with that. So if you go to Zen Project 8, you'll actually see not only the exercise, but a whole new series of recipes that he's come up with for you to help you eat heart healthy and anti-aging health span focus. Now, when we talk about body composition, why is this so important? You know, as we age, we usually end up, all of us, with more body fat and less muscle mass. So the secret is keeping more muscle mass and less body fat. And why is that? The more body fat we have, the more inflammation we have in our body, and inflammation basically linked to just about every age-related diseases. And the more muscle mass we have, the more calories we burn, because muscle burns much more calories than body fat. And the combination of AM, PM, and Zen Fuse has been an amazing synergy. And you know, the YES system is completely designed to enhance synergy when you use more than one product together. Well, these two products together are a home run if you want to lose body fat and gain muscle mass, as well as enhance your immune function. So people ask me, and we cover this in some of our other master classes, how many AMs and PMs should I take? Well, that's really, again, this is an opportunity for you to personalize your own approach to what supplements you're taking. Most people take 2 AMs in the morning with breakfast, 2 PMs, usually about an hour, within an hour of their dinner. Frankly, I take 2 AMs in the morning, another AM or 2 at lunchtime, because it helps just keep me focused and gives me great energy throughout the late afternoon. And then I take my 2 PMs or sometimes 3 PMs in the evening. So you can adjust this person to person. If you're a 200+ pound person, you're probably better off with 3 AMs and 3 PMs, and maybe an extra one at lunchtime. Now, the other thing I do routinely to keep my body composition ideal is I take a Zen protein shake probably around 11 o'clock in the morning. That gives me about another 15-20 grams of protein. I take another one usually about an hour before I go to bed. And that helps keep my blood sugar level, but helps me build a little extra muscle too. So looking at the products in the yes system, we have a tremendous synergy with not only the products, but the science behind these products is unique and first class. Stress. Well, one of the things we've noted from studies from people who get to be 100 or 100 plus years old is these individuals have usually been people who handle stress very well. They don't let the little things bother them. In fact, they don't even let the big things bother them. And that takes a certain personality type, or it takes special training. So the best advice I can give anybody, especially in today's fast-paced world, is to slow down and be in the moment and manage your stress. Because this is something that I personally did some research on. Back about 15 years ago, I went to a place called Centerpoint Research, and I went to the Monroe Institute in Virginia, which both places teach you how to slow your mind down and decrease your stress. Well, at the Monroe Institute, I did a little experiment on myself where I took my key hormones of aging, cortisol, DHEA, testosterone, and melatonin. I took my levels every day from the first day I got there until the end of the 7th day. And it was an awakening because by just utilizing my mind, learning to slow things down, I was able to drop my cortisol level by almost 300%. Now, cortisol is the age accelerating hormone. I was able to increase my melatonin at least 200%, my DHEA about 150 to 200%. Now, imagine being able to change the key hormones that are involved in aging with no medicines, no supplements, just with your mind and learning how to control your stress and perception of the world around you. So managing stress is amazing. Let's take a look at things. First of all, there's good stress and bad stress. Good stress are things that keep you sharp and keep you thinking about different ways to solve problems. And this is more of a minor type stress. Some people feel it's a big stress, but like if you happen to have a change in moving or a change in what you have to learn in school if you're younger, or even at your work, it creates a certain amount of stress. But that's stress that actually helps you grow both your mind and your ability and confidence in yourself. Now, bad stress is distress. And we're going to talk about that because that's basically one of the key things we're all completely faced with every day and gets worse and worse decade to decade. So there's an interesting thing called time urgency. And this is a phrase I've been using for decades. You know, every day in the 21st century lifestyle, what we really end up doing is being concerned about what happened the day before or the moment before and what's going to happen in the next hour or two or the following day or week. And our minds seem to be jumping from the past to the future, from back to the past to the future. And what this does is keeps us from being present in the moment. And learning to focus on where you are is not such a hard thing. And I'm going to teach you a couple of very easy ways to begin to get into that state. But first of all, if we're constantly worried about stressing the past and the future and our minds jumping back and forth, we don't know this, but we actually start elevating our cortisol. Cortisol elevation is linked to increased inflammation, loss of brain function, loss of brain matter, decreased immune function. So you see our general state from being overstimulated digitally today, and the fears of coronavirus, the fears of this or that, increase our cortisol. And more importantly, we need to learn to stop that mental cycle and learn to be present in the future. And then when we do that, our cortisol levels drop, and actually the anti-aging hormone DHEA rises. So these are things the masters of decades and centuries ago knew, and we just kind of are rediscovering this. Now, this is amazing. The human brain is loaded daily with 34 gigabytes of information. And this is a tremendous amount of information, whether you're realizing this or not from your iPhone, the television, but bombing the average human brain with such a large volume of information can overload even a powerful computer. And what's interesting is a research that was done in the last few years at the University of California, and showed that people can be inundated with the same equivalent amount of information in about a week. That is 34 gigabytes, and that's enough to overload a laptop in a week. So what I'm trying to say is that we are in a present state in our environment today on Earth where we're overloaded with information. Our attention span has also shortened. And back in 2008, a study by the Microsoft Corporation showed people could spend about 12 seconds on a concentrated task without being distracted. But just 5 years later, the same study showed people could only focus for 8 seconds. That's 1 second less than a goldfish focuses on. So what's happening to us is we have lost the ability to be in the moment. Our mind is racing. And then frankly, what's happened is we're now cortisol producing machines, and we need to learn to really slow that down. Now, what do we have in genetics that could help our minds not only remember, but deal with this overload of information is our mind product. Now, our mind product contains SeraQ, which is a unique protein that helps improve blood flow, nutrition to all areas of the brain, and helps with memory. L-theanine helps with keeping us focused in the moment and produces calmness and can actually improve learning. GABA, this helps to convert brain waves to calming frequencies and to aid in memory and processing information. And N-acetyltyrosine can help elevate levels of the key brain neurotransmitter to increase learning and memory. So Mind is an excellent opportunity, is an excellent product to help with this overload of information. And let's face it, without our memories, if we start to lose our memories and we can't recall what we did in the past, we lose part of ourselves. And this is the most important part of of all of us being human beings, is having those memories. So again, going back to the ancient philosophy, and I like to do this a lot, is even Buddha knew the secret. His comments were not to dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. And these are such wise words of wisdom thousands of years ago. And today we know how that impacts the key hormones that are involved in aging and wellness. So, but let's take a look at something else we've learned recently. Telomeres. Well, the telomeres are the little caps on the end of our chromosomes that actually dictate how many divisions our cells have. Okay, and we used to think that, gee, there wasn't anything you could do about helping to keep those babies long, because the longer you keep them, the more cell divisions and the longer you can stay healthy. And guess what? We now have research that shows that bad nutrition, particularly starting in childhood, results in a shorter telomeres in our genes and chromosomes. Child abuse or verbal or physical abuse creates stress, which shortens our telomeres. Domestic violence, post-traumatic stress disorders, and a sense of no self-love or loss of love. All of these things create stress, which shortens our cells' ability to continue to stay healthy and make copies of themselves. So when this happens, the telomeres, these little caps on the edge of our chromosomes, actually start shortening with every cell division until they reach a point where the cell can't divide anymore, and it'll either die or sit there and become what we call senescent and actually start to secrete bad things that actually cause us to age quicker. So what do we have to counteract that? Is we have Finity. Now, Finity is a unique combination of an astragalus root extract and a host of other key compounds that have been shown to help maintain the length of our telomeres and to fight quite a bit of the stress that we encounter in a 21st century lifestyle. So getting back to the things that from a lifestyle that can really help increase the enzymes that will maintain our telomeres, are good nutrition, particularly omega-3 acids. Exercise, we talked about that. Keeping in a mental state of happiness and gratitude having a positive outlook, and being surrounded by people who are compassionate or loving, and also learn to feel good and love yourself. Lastly, purpose. We now realize that if we have a life where there's really not a key purpose, a purpose of some sort, whether it's to be the best mother, father, to be the best artist, to be a scientist or an astronaut, if we don't have a purpose, the human mind and the human body seems not to flourish. So let's talk about a number of ways to de-stress yourself. One of the things that I've used and I teach people to do to break this constant mind chatter is to take 4 to 5 deep breaths. You breathe in and you breathe out for 3 or 4 seconds each one. That forces your mind to stop because you're focusing on breathing. The next thing you have to learn to do is to clear your mind. And then we're going to finish with something very important, is about using emotion to help also de-stress yourself. So again, I wanted to talk about the Centerpoint research. Initially, I did this initial study on myself when I went to the Monroe Institute to look at what meditation did to the hormones of aging and wellness. And as I told you, I was just a one-person experiment. So I then went to another really great place, Centerpoint, the Centerpoint Study Research Center, and I did this with 19 adults. And we did the same thing, tested our hormones of aging and hormones of wellness. And what we found out that when you place your mind into a state of meditation, and you could do that easily with certain types of apps or just practice. But we placed our mind into alpha, theta, and delta brainwave patterns with listening to just patterns of music and sound. And the dramatic effects on these 3 hormones related to the longevity and health, melatonin, DHEA, and cortisol, were again unbelievable. DHEA, 60% of the subjects had increases of 43%, and some of the people went up to 90% elevated levels of DHEA, the anti-aging hormone. Cortisol decreased an average of 46%, with decreases in some people to 80%. And melatonin increased an average of 97%, with some people up to 300%. Now, why is melatonin important? It's not so much for sleep, but melatonin is a neurohormone that protects your DNA from free radical damage. So again, we're looking at the human brain and body with the right training, being able to really make a difference in how it ages. So what about emotions and music? So one of the things I've looked at also is a doctor from Japan who showed just amazing results with focusing on love and compassion. And he actually had groups of people that he had focus on little test tubes of water and think of people they didn't like or hatred or negative things. And when he froze that water, it turned into crystals that were deformed and very, very ugly, unaesthetic. On the same people, when they focused a day or two later on holding these test tubes of water and focus on people they love, animals they love, people they had compassion for, when he froze the water crystals were amazingly beautiful and all symmetrical. And this experiment clearly showed that human intention, or the energy that our hearts and our minds actually make a tremendous difference in the structure of water. Now, when you keep in mind that 70% of the human body is water, you start to realize how important our emotions are to the water in our body. And when we have water in our body that's crystalline, deformed, our cells can't function well and can't function anywhere near they should be. So when you take a look at what actually happened when this water in the glass bottles was just addressed with words and the thoughts of thankfulness, the crystals were beautiful. Love and appreciation, the emotions of love and appreciation, created even more beautiful crystals. And these were just typewritten words placed on the glass bottles. So words themselves have a tremendous emotional impact. And when they put negative comments on these glass bottles, the crystalline structure was again terribly deformed. So our thoughts, the words we speak, and even the words we write can have a major impact on things that are not in the material world. Polluted water, for instance, from a dam in one of the lakes from Japan was horrible. Well, what Dr. Emoto did was got a large number of people to meditate for a number of days. And that same water sample, after offering even just 1 hour of prayer, was able to create crystals that were beautiful. Again, understanding how important thoughts are for emotion. This is a favorite saying that I actually put together over a decade ago. And I usually try to start my meditation in the morning with this. You know, information changes my thoughts. Thoughts change my beliefs. My beliefs change my habits. And frankly, my habits change my genes. And I focus on trying to really set and understand that I can be a healthier me today and tomorrow. And over time, just as I showed you, the thoughts and even written words can make a change in crystalline water. Imagine what happens to the water in your body when you repeat this to yourself day after day for a month or so. Your health can be impacted tremendously. So your body hears everything that your mind says. And it's so important to try to stay positive, not fill your mind with negative thoughts, because you're really doing yourself an injustice. So let's get back to the reality of supplements. What's important? AM/PM has been basically designed to supplement and become a cellular food or a cellular energizer. It's been designed to help turn on the key genes that are involved in longevity and health, and to decrease the genes that become active as we grow older. So AM Essentials is basically your vitamins and minerals, but it has up to 70 different ingredients to help regulate your cell function to a more optimal level. PM at the same time is again similar to AM/PM, but with different ingredients to help balance your sleep and cellular repair cycle. Put these two together with Zen Protein, you have something that when you bundle these packages together, you are doing something so positive for your body because of today's poor quality food that we usually end up eating due to the fast lifestyle we have. So factors, let's talk about our immune system again real quick, because that's a topic I hear of continuously. Factors that can help maintain an ideal immune system are the following. Sleep at least 7 hours daily. Have a routine. Don't have any lights on in your room, particularly your TV or your computer, because those lights will stimulate your eyes and limit the melatonin production in your body. Pre and probiotics are necessary to help keep your small intestine in optimal condition to make your immunoglobulins. Vitamin D and minerals, especially vitamin C, B6, E, and D, are all involved intimately in the immune system. Decrease your body inflammation and stress. Okay, how do you decrease your body inflammation? You improve your body composition, less body fat, more muscle mass. That's where exercise comes in, and eating the right diet. Stem cell function and number. Well, you say, Dr. G, how the heck can I increase my stem cell number? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But optimal body composition and regular exercise are so important to help with the immune system, but they also regulate your neurotransmitters and keep you in a much healthier, positive state of mind. And what did we just talk about? The power of words and your mind state on water and in general, your whole body. So all of these are so important. So if I was to put all these products together, believe it or not, that we need for an ideal immune function and just general health, here we go. We have AM/PM that has the vitamins, minerals, plant, vegetable, fruit extracts, digestive enzymes, pre and probiotics. We have Zen, which supplies the proteins we need to make immunoglobulins and keep our hormone levels ideal. And guess what? We have Vita Blue that can help release more stem cells so that our body's immune system functions better and our repair and regenerative potential are better as well. So these three products are the core of a focused, natural way to help improve your immune function. Just a little aside, our intestines produce a major part of, as I said, our immune globulins. And the microbiome, the bacteria that live in our intestines, are so important because they also supply the key neurohormones, serotonin, acetylcholine, and other neurotransmitters that affect our mood. And again, as we said before, keeping ourselves in a positive state of mind are so important. So we all want ourselves to age well. We want our bodies to age well. We want to stay young, look young, feel young, but be able to move and enjoy ourselves, our families, and our friends. And that's pretty much our mission at Jeunesse, is to empower people not to just look and feel young. Yeah, that's a big function. But we want to teach you how to live a healthier lifestyle. And the information we can pass on to you makes a big, big difference. So with that, I just want to remind you, you're the one who can make the difference and change your genes. It's how you think, how you handle stress, how you create a daily regimen with exercise and the right diets. And cooking can be fun, particularly with your significant partner or your wife, your husband, and even your kids. So cooking food shouldn't be a dredge. It should be something you can all enjoy together. And that's one way to teach your children a healthy lifestyle as well. So I hope you enjoyed the combination of how we put together these really amazing scientifically based products from Jeunesse, and how we as human beings have the innate power to literally, with our minds and with our thoughts and emotions, change the key hormones involved in aging and health. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. G. Oh, some great information in there, but one of the points that I really loved, and I think we are all so guilty of, is your body hears everything your mind says. It's so true, but it is one habit for a lot of people, including myself, that I think is so difficult at times to overcome. And I don't think a lot of people realize how it actually affects their stress levels and, their body and their lifestyle.
You know what it is? It's a negative self-talk. Gee, I'm just not good enough. Gee, why did I do that? Look, nobody's perfect. No human being's perfect. As long as we realize we did something that was not beneficial to ourselves or somebody else, we can learn not to do it again. But to repeat that just becomes embedded in our bodies, and it changes, so not just our thoughts, but it changes our genes.
Absolutely. And I loved that quote that you put up there, Dr. G. Information changes my thoughts. Thoughts change my beliefs. Beliefs change my habits. I am a healthier me today and tomorrow. If there's one tip out of all of this that I can give to each and every one of you listening, it would be to implement that on a daily basis. We now have a greater understanding of AM/PM, and more importantly, how it works in synergy with our other Yes products. We are incredibly lucky to have been able to spend the last 4 weeks hearing from you, Dr. G. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I know each and every one of you listening have been very appreciative of this. We have so many tips and tools now that, we can implement into our lifestyle. We can go out and train our teams with, we can use to sign new people up. So I hope you enjoyed our 4-part masterclass series. Again, Dr. G, thank you so much. You have been incredible.
Well, listen, Rachel, it's been my pleasure. I really hope to visit you all down under there, and to come to Australia again would be one of my big dreams, and to be able to just meet everybody in person and help reinforce all the very positive things that come from Jeunesse. And it's not just products and information, but it's the community of people that make a very interesting situation. There's not many businesses you can make a good living at, but at the same time improve the health of everyone and quality of people's lives around you. So when you join Jeunesse, I think it's really an amazing positive experience, because you're surrounded by people who are like-minded, focus on helping people, but also making a great living. And there's nothing better than having a job that does all of that.
Absolutely. We are incredibly blessed to all be part of the Jeunesse family. And, you know, I love being part of this company, and I'll continue to be part of this company for a long time. And I know each and every one of you will. And I'd like to finish on one of Dr. Giampapa's points is the best way to predict your future health is to create it. So guys, let's be proactive and let's get out there and create your future today. Again, thank you, Dr. G. Thank you to each and every one of you watching, and we'll see you again soon.
Pleasure. Stay well, stay healthy.